that, except, when you're doing what you are called to do, the day just goes by that fast. It seems like I just got here at 2 o'clock, and the day's, in 20 minutes we're going to leave here and have dinner together and go home to our families. I don't even have a slideshow prepared for you today, and that means one of two things. Either I wasn't prepared, or I'm going to blow you away with what I tell you, and slides don't matter.
Oh, I don't think I want to hear this.
So, I've taught this class enough to know that slides don't matter, right? Don't matter. Ask your kids that go to school. If you have a teacher that only gives you slides, do you pay attention? No, but sometimes I'll show you slides. So it shows the most honest, student in the room. So I don't have any slides for you. I'm just going to explain to you why there's so much value in choosing high-quality supplements for yourself and your family for the rest of your life. And one thing I've learned is that we could talk about so many supplements. I have these books. They're like physician's desk PDR, physician desk reference for medications. They make those for vitamins too, a vitamin reference book. And let's be honest. Has anyone ever felt a little confused about whether they should be taking vitamins, or if they should, what type, where should I buy them, how much should I take? And at the end of the day, am I even getting any value for the money that I spend on those? Has anybody ever felt that before? Yep. So much so that the doctors, you guys seen the TV show The Doctors? Mm-hmm. The doctors actually, anything that's a buzz in the health world that they talk about, right? Mm-hmm. They talk about chiropractic, they talk about essential oils, they talked about everything, okay? Vaccines. If it's been a cultural conversation, they've had it, okay? So they've actually gone on stage, and you could hear these doctors battling whether or not vitamins. And who has heard that, if you take vitamins, you're going to pee them out anyway? Yeah. Right? That's what Reader's Digest tells us and stuff like that. So I want to just clear some things up for you. And I want you to leave here feeling a little bit of value in this experience and understand how important this stuff is to transform your life. So I am a firm believer that if you talk the talk, you better have a firm walk, right? So anything I've ever taught you and shared with you, I shouldn't say taught, anything I've ever shared with you, I do it. And that's the important thing for me in this Pangea community, is that I don't get to tell anyone to do something I wouldn't do. And I spent, the past couple days in the emergency room, and I got to hear, it's a different situation, and there's different things going on. I got to hear a lot of people say, do this, but they've never had to do that for themselves. And I understand it's a completely different situation, right? That's life or death. This is wellness management, okay? So anything you'll ever hear in this clinic is going to be something that we do. Because if I don't do it, I'm not going to tell you to do it, right? I've even gone as far as telling people to get on certain diets, and guess what? I'm like, I'll do it with you. Because if I'm not doing it, then how can I even tell you to do it, right? So congruency is key. So as we're trying to decide, supplements and which ones are of value, let's stick to the basic 4, okay? Dr. Ashley and I call them the big 4. And it is my personal belief that, God gave us things to eat, right? And there's, food is medicine, yeah? So we should get most of our nutrients and our nutritious supplement from our food, okay? And I do firmly believe that. So supplements should always be secondary to a healthy diet. If you have an unhealthy diet, you should address your unhealthy diet before you start overloading yourself with supplements. And I do believe that. However, if you can't figure out how to do that, then supplements are the key. But let's just get it clear that all of your nutrients and vitamins should come from what? Food. Your food. Okay? If you have a really clean, healthy diet, you might not need 3 of these. But there's one that every single person needs. And we'll get to it. Okay? So number 1, the major reason that we need supplementation in our life is because our farming practices and the food that we now eat is good or bad? Bad. Mostly bad. Even the really good food that we buy comes from soil that's really depleted. Okay? I talked to my grandma about this. My grandma is, of course, Italian, and she makes beautiful tomato salad. We don't even say it right. Tomato. We call it tomato. It's a tomato salad, and you cut into a tomato, and it explodes. It's like a reservoir of life, right? You ever bit into a really good tomato, and it squirts out all over you? That's how tomatoes are supposed to taste and look. But if you go to the grocery store, you can barely cut through it with a sharp knife because it's so darn firm and hard, and it was probably picked 3 weeks before you ever got it. Okay? So the reality is that our food doesn't have the same nutrients in it that it once did. That's another reason why we need to grow our own food. Okay? So I believe it's important to supplement with a multivitamin because a lot of our food doesn't have the same quality nutrients that it once had, even 15 years ago. Okay? Now, when choosing a multivitamin, I'll put this one on display right now. When choosing a multivitamin, here's a couple things that I ask. Okay? Because I know there's some confusion on this. You got the one-a-days, you got the Costco brand, you got, right? There's 1,000 different options you can choose from. All right? Remember, if you don't have a really, really good diet, it would be a good idea to be on this. If you have a really good diet, I'd say, if you're keeping track of all the good stuff you're putting in your body, save the $15 a month. But realize if you, even the really good quality stuff is not going to cost you a fortune. There's value in this stuff. Okay? Remember, this is medicine. Food is medicine. Now, when you're choosing a multivitamin, I always ask, choose something that comes from food. Because if you put a multivitamin in your body that has synthetic vitamins, stuff that's made in the laboratory, what's your body going to do when it gets into your system? It's not going to know what to do with it. So if you're taking a multivitamin that has synthetic vitamins in it, like all the Walgreens brand, most of the Costco brands, anything that you get at a health food store for that matter, or a wellness store, like you know what I'm talking about. It's probably true that you are going to be excreting most of it because your body's not going to know what to do with that. So if you're going to choose a multivitamin, choose one that's made out of whole food. Okay? There are some really amazing options at like Whole Foods Market and Market of Choice. It's got to be a whole foods base. Remember, your body doesn't know what certain things are. Give it what it knows what to do. So this is just the variety that I have, and I never push my stuff on people. So if you don't want to buy this from me, go buy it from somewhere else. I don't care, right? I'm not trying to make it rich selling you vitamins. I realize that an adjustment is more powerful than a vitamin, and I'll tell you why. Okay? Get something that's whole foods. And know that if you're taking a whole food vitamin, you're going to have to take less or more than a synthetic. More. Because the synthetic ones punch a whole bunch of, synthetic formulas into a tiny pill. And let's be honest, how many tomatoes can they squeeze into?
I hope none.
Have you guys heard? And there are some good products out there, but have you guys ever heard? They're like, oh, take this because it has the equivalent to 75 heads of broccoli and 39 beets. Okay, there are some good ones, but generally speaking, that's a trigger. Okay, how are you making that all fit into this little thing? Okay, just a trigger. It's just something to keep your eye on. So with something that's whole foods, you're going to have to take more of them. So you might have to take like 4 of these a day compared to where you might only have to take 1 of a synthetic. I'm just giving you some tips. Not always, but that's something to look for. Okay? If it sounds too good to be true, it might be too good to be true. Okay? Real food takes a lot to get a bunch of real food into a tablet. Okay? So multivitamins are important. I think that kids should be on multivitamins if they're not eating healthy too. How soon? As soon as they get off breast milk. Okay? Everyone cool with multivitamins?
So how many would you have to take of that?
4. 4 a day.
4 a day?
4 a day. Let's do the math. There's 120 in here.
Okay. So
It's a month.
yeah. So it's 30 days.
Okay? 120 in here. So.
To that cause indigestion.
No, because it's real what?
And I say that
Food.
because I can't take regular 1-a-day vitamins
because they're not real
Food.
food.
Yes.
You got it. See, we're playing this game, so I want you to understand it. Yeah.
Well, that's true, but yes.
Next, probiotics. Who's heard of probiotics? We talked about those two weeks ago. Last week. Okay. Probiotics are extremely important, and we could talk about probiotics for days. Trust me on this one. So I just want to break it down really simple for you. Okay. We need probiotics because our gut digestion is generally struggling from our diet and from stress. Remember, Lisa taught us this last week. Gut digestion is important because 80% of your immune system lives in your gut. So if your gut is sick, you're going to be sick. Okay? We also know that if you take one round of antibiotics in your entire life, it destroys your gut microbiome. So if anyone in this room is taking antibiotics, you probably have some gut concerns that we need to talk about, and we can send you some people that can help you with that. If you're like me and you really got the nastiness, you were on antibiotics for a long time. I took antibiotics every single day for 2 years because I didn't want pimples on my face when I was 16 and I didn't know any different. Okay? So, if you're like me, yeah, we got problems. But there's no problem that we can't fix. The problem is no problem. Yeah, problem is no problem if you got the right help. Okay? Cool. We need probiotics, especially if you've been delivered cesarean section, because the first meal that the baby should get should be the vaginal fluids and all the other stuff in the vaginal canal, and that's where your gut microbiome is formed. So if you've missed out on that meal of a vaginal birth, you've already entered the world with some challenges. Okay? What percentage, who knows what percentage of births are cesarean today?
30.
Yeah.
30.
30%. So 30% of the kids that are born today are starting off with a sick gut, and their whole life they're going to be sick because they're not going to know this story. And that's why you got to tell them this story. Okay? So probiotics are extremely important. Here's the general rule of thumb. A good probiotic should have around 50 billion strains, with a B, 50 billion strains, or up. You know, we can get more. And it should have more than 8 different types. So I misspoke. 50 billion cultures with at least 7 or more strands. And I can give you some research. Or different strands do different things for your body. Okay? I tell people it's a good idea to cycle on and off of different strands. You don't want to stay on the same one your whole life. Okay? Because we need to be getting good bacteria from our diet and things, and you don't want to overload just certain types. So I tell people generally, and this is my understanding right now, and if anyone knows anything differently, let me know. But I like to cycle a couple months with one, and then I go to a different one, and then I'll kind of go around in a circle, and I'll come back to different things. Okay?
Now, is that probiotics, or is
that different probiotics with different strands? I stick to the same vitamins and a healthy diet, but probiotics, we want to get lots of different bacteria in our system. Good guys. Okay. If you've never taken a probiotic before, do you want to start off fast or slow? Slow. Because if you start off too fast, you create a little civil war inside of your body where the good guys right here are battling some not so good guys, and we have what's called a die-off, and you feel terrible because you get bloated because there's a war going on in your belly. And your body says, evacuate. So it shoves everybody out. It says, everybody's leaving. And you get screamers and you go to the bathroom all day. Okay? So you start off slowly. You might not start with a 50 billion. You might start with, 50 million, and then you might start working your way up. Cool? Talk to me about this sometime. I'll let you know. But we start slow because we don't want to have a fast die-off. All right? I do believe that children should take probiotics, especially if it was a cesarean. And the way that children get it is you open up one of these capsules, and mom pours it on her breast, and baby's mouth goes on the breast, and then they ingest that with the breast milk. Cool? Everyone should be breastfed unless there's a health concern, and then you put it into the formula, which we hope that we don't have to have formula, but some people do. So you put it into the formula. Okay? Probiotics are extremely important for life. Your bacteria in your body outnumber the cells in your body. Right? We have 76 trillion cells, and we have more bacteria in our body. Okay? So Lisa told us last time, we are actually bacteria, more bacteria than we are human. It's pretty weird. A good reason to not use antibiotics unless it's an emergency. Try everything first before you go to antibiotics. Okay. Vitamin D.
Yes.
Does our body make vitamin D?
No. It does.
It does.
It does, but
Correct.
mine doesn't.
Everybody else's does.
Everybody else.
Everybody else's does. Mine
Our body
doesn't.
does make vitamin D, and how do we make it?
The sun.
The sun. Because the sun is food to our body. It's energy to us. You ever seen anyone who sits in the basement for a couple months too long? Yeah, they're scary. It's just, if you leave the sun, it just gets scary, okay? Your body needs vitamin D to build the immune system, build strong bones, and a bunch of other really powerful and amazing things inside of us, okay? So we must get vitamin D from the sun, and if we're not out in the sun, we must get it from our what? Our food, okay? Now, vitamin D is important that you're getting the right type, okay? Sometimes if you go to the grocery store and you get vitamin D, you're getting a type that your body has to further synthesize. So you have to go through more work to make something that you're taking. All right? Save yourself the hard energy and just get the type that your body's going to be able to use. It's vitamin D3. Okay? If it doesn't say vitamin D3 on it, don't even look at it. And it's really important to get good vitamin D. Really important. I think, I looked this up a couple years ago. Because of where we live on the 44th parallel, we don't get direct sunlight all year, do we? The tilt of the earth and the rays of the sun are more powerful certain times of the year. So there is a website you can go on and you can type in your zip code or your parallel or your coordinates, and it tells you how many months out of the year your body can effectively make vitamin D. And it's not much for where we live. It's like 4 to 5 months, if I remember correctly. So, especially during the winter, we gotta supplement this stuff. Studies have linked things like depression to low vitamin D. I mean, very, very serious. And the reality is that most people are deficient in vitamin D. Most people, okay? So someone in this room is deficient in vitamin D, not just you. But you're supplementing it.
I take 50,000 units.
5,000.
No.
50?
50,000
Cool.
units once a week. And then I take 2,000 units every day. And I have been doing that for a year and a half, and I still cannot get my vitamin D even to the low normal.
Yeah, gotcha.
And it's because I have osteoporosis.
Yeah, you maybe wouldn't be alive if you weren't supplementing it. Seriously.
Really?
It's very serious to lose vitamin D and not be
I
converting
didn't
it.
know I could die.
I didn't mean it like that. I mean, seriously, you'd be in a world of hurting right now. So vitamin D is that important, okay? There's ways that you can get more into your system and know that the toxic level, what Nancy just explained to us, that's a lot.
I know it's a lot.
The average person, if you're supplementing, you should be taking around 5,000 IUs, international units, and that's my recommendation. But know that if I'm getting sick, I'm bumping up to 10, 12,000. Okay? So vitamin D is as, if not more important for your immune system than vitamin C is when you're getting sick. It's as or more important for your immune system when you're getting sick. So we take vitamin D every day unless we're going to be on the sun in the summertime, and it's extremely important.
Now your vitamin D there, what is it? How many units?
You got to take a bunch of this one because remember, this is food. Now there's some other products like Metagenics and stuff. You can do 1 drop is 1,000 IUs, so you do 5 drops on your tongue, which is what I take if I'm in critical mode and I'm trying to get a bunch. So this one here has 1,600 IUs and 2 tablets, so you got to take 6, 7 of these guys a day.
Well, if you want to do 5,000.
Yep. Okay. It's cheap. It's $11. Vitamin D is cheap, even the good stuff. Okay. Cod liver oil or fish oil. This is what I had, so I pulled it off my shelf. Fish oil is extremely important because it's an essential fatty acid. Essential means you must what? Have it, or you will not live. So it's essential. And the only place you can get fatty acids is from what?
Fish.
Your diet. You can get it from other places like flax and different nuts and seeds, but fish just happens to be the best place to get it. Okay? Every single cell in your body has a cell membrane, and it surrounds the cell, and it's the gatekeeper, which allows things to come in and out of the cell. Guess what that cell membrane is made out of? Fatty acids. And guess where you get that from?
Fish.
Your diet.
Yeah.
So if you don't eat fish and flax and healthy nuts and healthy grains that have some omega-3s in it, guess what's going to happen?
Bad things.
Bad things. It's that simple. So you don't need a slideshow for this. Okay? Your brain is made out of fat. Fatty acids. And where do you get your fatty acids from? Your diet. See? Your central nervous system is made out of fats. Your spinal cord is made out of fats. Where do you get it from?
Your diet.
So we better be putting this stuff into our diet. The problem is that there are different types of omega fatty acids. There's omega-3s, 6s, and 9s. Okay? The 3s are the really important ones. The 6s are the really important ones. And the 9s are the really important ones. We must have them all, but they must remain in a good ratio. Okay? They're all important, but our diets have more 6s and 9s in them, which creates some inflammation if the balance gets off. So the reason we supplement with fish oil is because they're really high in omega-3 fatty acids, which are the ones that our diet is generally deficient in. Got it? Mm-hmm. I have books that were written on fish oils and the power of fish oil. Okay? One of the main reasons that we have Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and central nervous system diseases is because we're taking things like cholesterol-lowering drugs, and cholesterol-lowering drugs attack fatty acids, and our brain is made of fatty acids and fats, and we are eating away at our brains and our central nervous system. It's true. And you're in 10, 15 years, I don't know that stuff's still going to be around anymore. It's just true. We're just telling you the truth, okay? So if you know someone who's on cholesterol-lowering drugs, they better be on something like fish oils, and you better be working on their gut to get their gut healed, or else the road ahead is pretty scary, right? Alzheimer's is up several thousand% over the past couple of years. It's insane, okay? Fish oils. If you're not eating healthy fish, you got to get it. This is the one that I told you is absolutely mandatory. You don't have to buy it from me. Go to the store and buy it. But here's the thing that you need to understand. If you take a fish oil and 20 minutes later you burp and it tastes like fish, you got a bad fish oil. Have you ever smelled a fish that you just caught?
Yes.
Does it smell like fish? No. But if you leave it in the cooler for 3 hours and then smell it, you'll pass out.
Yeah.
Your fish oil should not smell like that. Okay? And they shouldn't taste like that. If you have a fish oil that tastes like that, it's rancid, and it's doing rancid things to your body, and it's disrupting your gut more than it's ever going to help you. So there are some name brands that you want to completely stay away from, and there's some name brands that are pretty okay. The one name brand that you will get from Whole Foods or Market of Choice is called the Norwegian Naturals. Okay. Nordic Naturals.
Yeah, Nordic.
And that's a really good one that you can buy over the counter. I say stick to that one because their water's clean up there. Or you can get a really good fish oil from a trusted company that does the testing, and they make sure there's no heavy metals and mercury, and they make sure that by the time you get it, it's not rancid. Cool? When I first started taking fish oils, I burped fish oil up for months, and I thought it was the grossest thing. And then I learned that. I go, oh my gosh.
That is the grossest thing. You're like,
I've been taking it took it for like 3 months.
Rancid fish
This is
oil.
when I was really young. Someone told me fish oils were good for me, and I went to like the grocery store and bought some, and I was like, these are gross.
Yeah.
Right?
Wonder how they keep them from going rancid. Like package them in a vacuum.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
package it in a nitrogen-based chamber, so oxygen doesn't get to it. So as soon as you open it, you're supposed to put them in the fridge to help that oxygenation process, so they don't go rancid.
No.
Oh.
But when they package it and oxygen, then
It oxidizes.
it can oxidize and continue to break down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, there's a lot of reasons why we like the Standard Process company, but, do your own research and know that you can buy this from us here if you want. It's here for you.
Other ones are good.
So just out of curiosity, how many of those would you have to take?
So what I tell people, depending on what's going on, I say take between 1 and 3 grams of omega-3s.
Okay.
Okay? So it's about 4 of these a day. 2 in the morning, 2 at night. Okay? There's a lot of other good, yummy stuff in here. But I say look at the omega-3s because the omega-3s are what we're lacking from our diet, generally. Okay? If you have you can use fish oil. They've been doing research on fish oil for decades. You can treat pain, you can treat chronic disease with fish oil. You can treat concussions with fish oil. Okay, there's a concussion protocol that I put people on when they have a concussion. We put them on high-dose fish oil for a month to rebuild the brain tissue that was damaged. It's the only way to do it that I know of. Okay? So remember I told you, if you're going to talk the talk, you better walk a steady walk. Okay? Now, some of you guys know that I just went through some stuff with my family. I got the tape on my hand to, remind me that, some stuff happened. So when my brother was injured on Saturday, really badly, and we were out having fun together camping, and, crisis hit. And, in 2 seconds it goes from fun to, life or death situation. And we were in the middle of nowhere, and we rushed him. We got him to a hospital after 2.5 hours of driving through the desert. And we got him to the hospital, and then we had to go through this whole process, and we transferred him back to Bend, and now he's in Portland healing at the burn center there. He was burned really bad. And as we got him to Portland Burn Center, what's going through my head is, okay, what does he need to heal faster? And I knew that he needed adjusted, and I knew that he needed food. And the truth is, we looked at each other and we said, well, okay, he got transferred up there. We're going to pack up a bag of vitamins and real food, and we're going to meet him up there, and we're going to give him the stuff. And when we get there, the nurses are like, hey,
You can't take it in.
I don't think so. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So went
So
to the
did you-
Walgreens and got some Ziploc bags, and we were out in the parking lot like drug dealers, counting out and divvying up what his requirements were to get his skin to heal, which turned out to be about 30 different vitamins a day. And the doctors said nothing is allowed in here that we don't approve of, and they don't want to approve any of that. I said, that's fine. So we'll figure out how to do it on our own. Okay? So when we arrived, they also were bringing him dinner. And his dinner was 3 pieces of fried chicken. And I said, well, this ain't going to work. So you guys do your job of helping him get out of crisis mode. I'll do my job of getting him food. And if I can't tell you, I won't tell you. But we're going to do this, okay? And they assured me, Andrew, we have the best nutritionist. And I bet they do. I bet they do. But not for my world and what I know is best for my brother, okay? So if you're going to, talk the talk, you better be willing to walk a steady walk. And this stuff is so important for you in your life that you got to be willing to know that if someone needs to heal, you'll get in your car and you'll make that 6-hour round trip to drop off 15 baggies of 30 different vitamins that we're going to sneak into the system. Okay? And you got to be so willing to do that for yourself and your family that you'll do that. And you won't ask questions, and you'll know that what's right is right, and we have to do what's right because we know he's going to heal. And we know that this will help him heal faster if he has the building blocks to do that. Okay? So I'm telling you that story because that's how much value I put on my food. And for me, this is my food. You could probably live on this stuff for several months because it's real. And if your vitamins aren't real, find real ones.
Does it satisfy hunger? Sorry.
This is food. It's not. Yeah.
It's like technically, I
In a
mean,
roundabout way.
yeah, in a roundabout way, really.
In a roundabout
A lot
way.
of
It
times
doesn't
people,
happen overnight.
people will continue to eat because their body's starving for nutrients, so they're always like continue.